Cut this off here. And after this, we're going to bring you some more songs. But anyway, hey, what's up, everyone? This is DayTraderRockStar, and this is the market radar for actually July 16th and 17th. Going into the end of the week. Pretty interesting week. A lot of news out today. Market here. Do you know what? We're gonna break down the markets for you. We're gonna break down the S&P right now. I'm gonna tell you my short-term look. But we're also going to give you some stocks to watch in the next couple days also. We're going to give you 4 stocks to watch, and I'm going to talk more about those in a second here. These are really good setups, and I feel if these setups do not play out, then there's something wrong with the market. And with that being said, let's get into it. The S&P here recently, we talk about the daily. That's our bigger time frame. Came out of this wedge pattern. Popped up, big positive candle, nice follow through. Everything started with an oversold stochastic. Everything acted perfectly to the pattern that was playing out. We got oversold on the daily and the 60. The 60 has been chopping around. I mean, we do have that rotation. Back here is where we really focused on the setup here. You can see the bigger wedge pattern, and we actually could see that move up from this level. And then we started focusing on the overbought level. Sometimes we could get extended here in what we call embedded on the stochastics, and that's usually a sign of strength. So we could actually say that, during this period right there, as we start to get overbought, we pushed a little bit higher, and then we started to roll over a little. But what's really interesting on this setup, even though that 60-minute time frame was also key, we actually we always pay attention to the 60 daily setup. That means when the 60 is oversold in the daily setup, that's when you have the really big probability of a big pop. Now, we had a big pop. Look at this. This is a nice little looking move here over the last 3 or 4 days out of this pattern. But look where we moved up to. Now, when we see a pattern like this, especially a wedge pattern, we know that, for a measured move out of a wedge pattern, a rising wedge or a falling wedge, we take the established channel. In this case, it's the lower trend line here on the falling wedge, and it's the top trend line on a rising wedge. And we take this, make a parallel line, and we put it up to that pivot area right up here, that recent pivot area. And with that level is usually our target from a wedge pattern like this. What it really represents is this pivot up here represents a range-bound trade, which has started here. It's really confirmed the lower section, and now so many times we come up here. And we get back up here, which would actually cause us to channel out and push back into the channel. So we always want to pay attention to that level. And we are at that level. And with that daily also starting to push up against that level, becomes a little bit trickier. But seeing the 60 push up against that, knowing the 60, it's a better call for a short-term pullback. Because the daily 60 and even the 5-minute was set up here. So, the 5 minutes, it's been really key over the last few sessions. We haven't gotten much rotation on the 5-minute. Take a look at the 5-minute rotation here, the upside bias, the pullback, the small upside bias, the pullback, upside bias, the pullback, small upside bias here, but it was an upside bias, and it was actually a lane divergence here. And then we started chopping around. And again, remember the 5-minute time frame is representative of that. It's not going to be the if you see a divergence on the 5-minute here, it reacts, and that divergence is good until that 5-minute stochastic gets overbought. So, I mean, it does work out. It does work fine, but you have to take the signals as they give you them. And then the rotation back down here today, helped out by a little news later in the day, the Greece news, which we're all over. I have to take credit for that, and you were there with me. If you were there with me, about 15 minutes before we started focusing on the rise, I said, be careful. This is the same thing that happened the last time we had the flash crash. Wouldn't be surprised to see the market here. Be very careful. And there we had it. Wasn't a flash crash. There's no I'm not, saying that this was a tremendous call, but the fact is, we were on top of the breaking news here. I love that. And, another thing is realizing how long the news takes to affect the market sometimes. It took until CNBC, which is, takes its own time on breaking stories. Normally, if a story comes out, and it's a pretty big story, you can count about 30 minutes before CNBC starts to cover it. give or take on the size of the story. I mean, I'm sure if it's a really big story, things start getting picked up. But most of all, we could talk about really a delayed reaction in the market on news. At least you have 5 to 10 minutes now these days. It seems like at least 5 minutes to analyze the move or analyze the news, and then really set a position into it. And then we saw that pull back. So we were all over this that area right up here. And then we did break down. We kind of pushed back up, and you can see that 5 minutes been pretty key on those short-term moves. So the 5 minutes going to start off tomorrow a little overbought. Again, we started off oversold today, and we had that nice move up, and we talked about that. We talked about the odds of an early push if we start off in the day on an oversold 5. We did have that early push. Bigger time frame, the 1 minute gets choppy, but the 5 minute, then we go out to the 60 minute. Let's take a look at the 60 minute time frame. That's been embedded. We're a little concerned about that overall. So that 5 minute, take a look at the patterns that played out today. The big thing here is, if you're looking at the S&P, you're looking at the overall markets, you want to trade based off of them, right? You want to, figure that the tide, the incoming tide and the outgoing tide is the bigger market here, and you want to go with the tide. It's just an easier trade. We had a initial wedge pattern here, a really nice one too, and it took a little time. I was a little concerned on this. It did take a little time. We pushed up here, and we pushed up a little further, and then finally broke down. It did break down a little bit later than expected, but with that breakdown, it did come back down to the measured move, bounce, and then watch what happened. We actually bounced through this. We actually flushed through it and retraced to it. Really proved that line to be a really good line, except it was just a little more selling coming in, and sometimes have to accept that. And how did we determine that? We had this pivot, this pivot, this pivot, and this pivot down here to make this parallel line. So that's how we determined that line. And then the breakdown through it, happened, but that line is still in effect. We actually pushed back up to it, tagged it perfectly, pulled back from it, and then established a new line. From that point on, there was a couple bearish setups. Here's the news, Greek news. This is where we started covering it in this consolidation. Actually started pushing up. I'm like watching this. I'm like, I don't know about this. And then boom, we got hit. And then the bigger pattern overall, I mean, you can't say that these trend lines do not, just give you the best opportunities. The 1, 2, 3 pattern, you got to have it, a perfect pivot area down here, a perfect pivot area here, and here, and here. The top pivot area is established. This one is just a parallel line. We came down to basically to the tick. Maybe went under a quarter, but right to the tick. A big reversal candle, triple threat, and then from that point on, it was all the way back up. And we had this place. This is what we specialize in, is understanding that recognizable channel here is going to be here until the price comes down to it, and that's going to be your trading opportunity, especially now when you have a triple setup and a reversal candle. We talk about this. We didn't have that set up anywhere else. I mean, we didn't have the trend line set up. We talk about maybe having a triple threat set up, but that's just one indicator of 5. And we need to have 3 really for a pure HPS on stocks. 2 to be able to really, have a better position on the futures trade. In this case, you had this oversold, the triple stochastic, which is 1. You had the recognizable pattern, which was 2, which is a 1, 2, 3 pattern, and the reversal candle, which is really 3, which called the candles as a an added bonus indicator. I mean, normally we also look at support and resistance, and also looking at the pivot areas and moving averages, which were not playing out here. So it's really a good setup based off of the recognizable pattern, a 1, 2, 3 pattern, reversal candle, and the triple stochastic setup. That also happened here. Let's take a look at that time frame. That happened at, what time was that? 2:57. 2:57. So the one other thing we want to do at that time frame, 2:57, is look at that 5-minute time frame. So what time was that? 2:57. Right here on that 5-minute reversal candle. That was 2:57, right there. and it was also a 5-minute setup. So there's your bigger wind in your sail. This is something that you cannot look, and then you can see the nice move off of here. Each one of these, it's like, you know, you have an opportunity, giving you the signal. It's getting through that, you know, there's something out there that causes, you know, sometimes not to take every position. You don't believe in it, but here's a great example of, you know, what continues to work in the markets. You might not get a tremendous move. It might not be a bottoming move, but we have to take those higher probability setups when they line up. The oversold stochastic, the triple threat, the reversal candles, the recognizable patterns, they all play a part during the analysis during the day, and this is what we'd like to do. Which I love to do is point out these things live as they're happening live here at Day Trading Radio. So, you know, if you're not a member or anything, you still definitely tune in, watch the broadcast. We show you these charts all the time. That's beside the other stocks that we're looking at. You know, that we'd like to trade off of that. You know, watching the futures and watching the stocks are two different things. We want to have the futures, you know, in your corner. Of course, you want to have the market on your side, depending on which way you're going. But, you know, that's, you know, there's two games out there. There's actually a lot of games out there. It's just that we focus on stocks, we focus on futures, we focus on options. You know, but these signals here, they play out. We show them to you every day. I show them to you every day. And it's, you know, something that hopefully you start to pick up on and saying, all right, you know, I understand this area. It makes sense. He called it while it was happening. You know, how could that happen? You know, it's a really good call off of that level, where this wedge pattern did move up a little bit higher, but typically that wedge pattern breaks back down, and we talk about a measured move. We can see that measured move. We flushed it, but came down through it. These trend lines, once we establish 1, 2, 3 patterns here, 1, 2, 3, we came up to 4, again 5. These trend lines are working out. The setups are working out. Everything's working out on the bigger time frame. So it's just about having patience to get, you know, wait for your setups. Not every day is going to be the perfect day to trade. You know, that's the problem. So, you know, kind of just to wrap up the trader, you know, the market radar video here, how we left off here. The 5-minute chart we start off tomorrow. You know, we have Greece news. It's you know, it's a coin flip. We have some good news out on Intel. Netflix is trading higher. You know, I expect earnings to be moving up. But we do have that Greece news. There were some riots today. Will the riots continue tomorrow? It's just kind of a wild card out there. Technically, we're just going to go by that. Good news will probably push us higher. Bad news will push us lower. But technically, you know, 5-minute chart is getting a little extended. You know, I would look for more of this pattern to break down tomorrow than to break out. And you know, I'm only saying that because we have that 5-minute setup and we have the 60-minute setup. It's not, you know, a situation where, I tell you what, if we actually get that move, I'm going to take the SPY puts off. I like to take the profits on that. If we get a breakdown here a little bit further, I would like to take that, because I don't think we're going to be moving down too much further, you know. So I'm playing with fire here. I think we're going to move up here soon. I just think that maybe we get a little further flush down. A frush, not a flush. So 5 minutes a little extended. The 60-minute here seems to be rotating back down, but like we had back here, we could, you know, pull back a little and then turn back up. But it does look like we're rotating back down. We expected that today. We finally got it. The trend line here is pretty intact. We're going to give that, you know, but we're on the 20. Tomorrow the news is going to play a part. It just is. So I'd say the negative is on the day, hourly, on the 5-minute, and even on the daily here, starting to get up there. But overall, now we take a look at the daily. We have another 1, 2, 3 pattern coming out of a wedge. Normally you get a little pullback here, pull back a little bit further. Do we have a bigger channel playing out now? Do we cross back over? That's all going to be, you know, I think we're going to see these answers tomorrow. I like to make a prediction. I'm going to show you 4 good stocks tomorrow. I'm going to show you some extra ones just to keep an eye on. I'm putting this out for, this is kind of a freebie because I'm not going to do another. I got a late start here, so I'm going to wrap this all together. Normally this would be a members video, but I'm doing the market radar, and I'm throwing some freebies out there today because I have a guest coming by, and I had to get this done, and I'm not gonna be able to do a separate video tonight, but I will do, of course, the videos on Friday, or the members videos as they come up here. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is we're going to talk about stocks right now. Sam Adams, let's talk about that. Lots of questions about the Sam Adams. It's been a horrendous looking setup here. There's a bigger 1, 2, 3 pattern, but we'd like to sometimes establish a new pattern off of this gap. Now there's a big gap up here at 280, and we're going to look at this pivot going down to this level, and we'll draw a parallel line. And we don't even consider this one for now. Let's just not consider this, not confuse us. So let's just pretend we're working off of this all together. So if we're working off of this, I want to actually, doesn't look right here for a second. Let's make sure we're playing by the rules. So we did break down through a little. But you know what I was looking at? I was looking at these two trend lines here. This pivot and this pivot. This is actually, I love these two pivot areas. That's what's making my, one of the reasons I like this is there is two big candlesticks here, and when two big candles connect and you actually come down to that trend line again, that kind of is setting the tone here. There's a good support line, but there's been no strength in this. The only thing I'm looking at here is possibly a divergence playing out. We took out the lows. We haven't really crossed back down. I showed this earlier on the show. Tomorrow's a big day on this. I picked up the one call today. I would definitely play this on the 60-minute time frame. This is the first setup for tomorrow. Write it down. If you want to watch it, watch me tomorrow. We'll be taking this trade. I'm going to be looking for a 60-minute time frame setup here. Very similar to what we did on Whole Food Mart. WFM the other day. Here we were pulling back. We got oversold on 60. I said, watch for that gap down and watch for that reversal candle. We had a couple back here. This one really didn't it did play out on the 60. It was nice. What's the characteristics is? Close to the trend line, oversold. In this case, it was kind of coiled up. The same thing happening here. So we got that 60-minute candle, we got to follow through. 60-minute candle, we got to follow through. That's what we're looking for here tomorrow on SAM. And that's the only thing I want to see, because we didn't have any really big candles on SAM lately. I've been eyeballing them. This wouldn't even be considered, even though we had a little push back up. I think we're overdue. I think we're right on the trend line. We're oversold on the hourly. The daily is oversold and possibly giving us a little divergence. So I think any type of reversal tomorrow early before 11 o'clock with a 60-minute time frame, I would maybe double down on the SAM. So the options are very sparse. Me and another trader earlier got in on it, and we were probably the only two people who were in on the options on it, if you've noticed the option activity on that. You could go with common shares, but again, we're going to be following this on the hourly. So whatever happens in the first half an hour, if we get a big candle, like we were talking about a hammer, engulfing pattern, outside period, the outside day, but not outside period, basically on the 60-minute period. Those are some of the candles we'll be looking for. A hammer, again, outside period, or an engulfing pattern. All right, that's to the upside. So that's what we're looking at. That's play number one for tomorrow. A little update for you. BBBY here, banging the table. You don't see me banging the table in a while. This looks great. We have a nice wedge pattern breakdown. Wedge pattern in that 65-75% area of the area. Even a possible divergence if we actually measure it out and pull out the protractor. But not bad. I like the risk reward on this. I do like the risk reward on this. It's not perfect. We have a good pivot. We're off that pivot the third time. It's kind of tightening up. We have a bigger trend line up here, represents that 1, 2, 3 pattern. We have a lot of space up here. We just want to get this thing to pop. Bed Bath & Beyond, typically a great stock. Not that far off the. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's there. I like it. So Bed Bath & Beyond, we're going to continue to look for some follow through on this one. Hourly. That's the hourly on this one. So CBS, a lot of talk about this one. This one had started to get that reversal today. We had a beautiful candle here. At this point, we had a beautiful candle at that candle right there. And I thought it was off to the races, but you know, market here stalled out, or at least this one did, a little bit relative to the overall markets. You know, this area was a nice little run up. Then we got to extend it on the 5-minute, pulled back, and then kind of chopped around and just dragged its feet and started feeling weak again. We didn't cross back down here, but we did take a look at that 60, chopping around on the 60. We'll watch it tomorrow a little bit closer. I still expect it to move higher. Again, with the Best Buy and then the Fastenal. Still, I think tomorrow is a key day in this. I honestly think it's a key day. We actually started making a reversal on this. We held a higher low. This is key here. You know, we talk about technical levels, higher highs and higher lows. What we have here is a higher low and a possible divergence. I think tomorrow is a key day. Probably in the next 2 days. We had a recent this little area here where we started pushing back up. We kind of made a low there, and then we dropped and spiked lower, and we held above that level. If I got rid of that K, and if I got rid of that line here, you'll see it.
YM Tradeometer overbought.
Starting to turn back up.
ES Tradeometer overbought.
Back up here. It's hard to read into. It's not a big, fast-moving stock, but I like the gap down. I'm going more for the reversal on this than figuring that we're going to kind of grind down. So tomorrow, if we could actually put in a higher low again and continue to put those higher lows in, you know, we'll start building some strength. Once we start to feel that, this actually might, you know, make its way back up here, and that might have been the perfect buy opportunity. Fastenal, FAST, something to watch tomorrow if it does push higher. American Express it acted well. You know, it's in that consolidation of the lows. It did have a down day today. Again, I was showing you the you know, the daily stochastics here really good with the 60-minute pulling back. So this is another, you know, situation where we normally see this. We see this type of pullback. We like to see the pop in it too, but that should happen, looks like maybe tomorrow. So American Express will be on the list for tomorrow. Johnson & Johnson was a lane divergence. I want to show you this one because this is one of the textbook lane divergences. Here you had that drop in the price, but you had that nice move back up above that line, and it continues to move up here. Johnson & Johnson, very nice. Beautiful, pure lane divergence. Put that one in your notebooks. And then there were some other lane divergences. LUV, you know, with the gap down here, I still maintain that lane divergence. I think that's a great stop on that one. It's chopping around, but I think this is a lane divergence also. It just hasn't caught fire yet. So watch that one. And again, there's some other ones. UAL. You know, same thing. You got that nice cross higher. This took out the lows. And AKS. Oh, that no. AL. Let me see. What am I? ALK. So many. Alaska Air Groups. Really the best chart on the airlines next to JetBlue, JBLU, which is just about ready to take out the highs here, and also a potential retracement. But you know, we're looking at LUV, and then speaking about traveling, Carnival Cruise Lines here trading at the highs of the set. So this is just a bonus right there. But that was about it. Excuse me, that was about it. We're looking at that reversal candle tomorrow. Sam Adams. Also looking at, I just want to review, I didn't review the earnings for tomorrow morning. So let me just do that fast for you. There's a lot of earnings tomorrow. I'm just going to write these. I want to actually bring this over. No. Yeah, I will. Visit earnings for tomorrow morning. So we're going down the group here. Citigroup, eBay, depending on how that, Goldman Sachs, KeyCorp Bank, M&T Bank, Sherman-Williams, Travel Zoo, United Healthcare, WNS, Philip Morris PM. I mean, there's some pretty good ones. A lot of stocks coming out tomorrow. We're going to be, we're going to really have to go through those a lot tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning we're going to be have our hands full, kind of weaning through the gap down and going through these stocks. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Just a couple. I just want to take a look at how Philip Morris is lining up. Here's your dailies. Again, you're kind of extended here, gap down. I don't know if I'd buy that. I'm looking for like that 60-minute perfect setup. Anyway, we'll work on those tomorrow. But again, Sam Adams, BBBY, banging the table on today, so you know that's one of the best bets. CBS, watch for Fastenal as a reversal. The CBS, we're still looking for that total rotation. AXP, looking good. Those are some nice ones for you. And that's it. That's the market radar. So be sure to join me tomorrow or any day in the market starting at 8 o'clock. Don't forget we got a news segment started at 8:20. And it's just as easy as tuning into DTR.TV or DayTradingRadio.com. Anyway, it'll bring you to the same place, and you'll enjoy the perfect show. So that's the market radar with a few extra bonus stocks for tonight. Going into tomorrow, we're still waiting for some Greek news. Looks like Greek bailout approved in Athens as ECB waives emergency funding. Greek bailout approved. So we just crossing breaking news right now. Let's go to the futures right now, see if there's any action in that. There's a small little spike in some volume coming up here, but we do have it right now. This is out right now. Bailout approved in Athens. Greek Parliament approves the 96 billion bailout plan demanded by creditors to keep country in Eurozone. And market here pushing up a little. So we have that going for us. And what do we have here crossing here? And we just got this. Richard here. Rich Boca, I think that's Boca, tagged you in a post. John Caruso and Paul Matthew, Charlie Baker. Greece just accepted the bailout. Which way the market go? Well, right now the market is moving up here. And again, you remember, the market has a weird way of, like, people are eating dinner and then I realizing what the news is. You know, our algorithms moving this. But this is breaking news right now, and you're going to get this here on your market radar. Futures are moving higher now. They're up 3. Dow futures are up 3. And NASDAQ futures up 475. We're at 2107. It is 7 o'clock, and we're going to continue with the show. So if you're out there and you're seeing this video and you want to tune in, come on out over at DayTradingRadio.com. We're going to be doing a show tonight for a little while longer, and that's it. All right. See you in the markets tomorrow.